And we are the Nerds in Flannel. Guys, welcome back to part 2 of our top 10 movies of all time.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah, dude, oh man. Since the last time we recorded, we've been like, was that good enough? Should that have made my top 10? We would have like a crisis. But, we figured it out. I think we got our list good, and I think we're ready to go.
Yeah, I think we're pretty solid, pretty set.
How about, Ashton, we talk about number 4.
Okay.
And then we have an honorable mention. Two honorable mentions, and then go for number 3.
Okay.
We like to mention as many movies as we can, just because we love movies.
And again, honorable mentions, if you're just tuning in now, honorable mentions are not they're the movies that didn't make the list. And even though we're mixing them in before stuff, they're not actually before those ones.
Yeah, and there's no order. There's no order of them anyways.
There's not really an order of honorable mentions. We just think they're really great movies.
Let us recap our 10 to 5th picks.
Okay.
Mine was 10, Licorice Pizza, 9, Ratatouille, 8, Warrior, 7, Tick Tick Boom, 6, The Social Network, and 5, Interstellar. With honorable mentions being Arrival, Beauty and the Beast, 1991, Baby Driver, and Spider-Man No Way Home.
Awesome. Yeah, so my 10 to 5 was Deadpool as 10, Aladdin, the original Disney one, at 9, Get Smart at 8, Logan at 7, La La Land at 6, and Inception at 5. And my honorable mentions were Toy Story, the original one, Mrs. Doubtfire, Tropic Thunder, and The Titanic.
That's some diverse movies right there, man.
Very diverse
Holy.
movies.
All right, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Where did we end off last time?
We can do an honorable mention, and then...
Well, did I go first last time, or did you go first?
I think I might have went first, so you should go first. So,
Dope.
4, and then 2 honorable mentions, then 3, and then we take a break.
Cool. So, my 4th one, this is a movie that has had very special meaning to me, especially growing up as a kid. It's the one that really... I think I mentioned Toy Story when I brought it up as an honorable mention last episode, really kind of sprouted my love for sci-fi. This movie that I'm about to mention here really did it in for me. It's what I credit to making me a nerd. It is, drumroll please. Yes. The best drumroll. Okay. The Empire Strikes Back. Star Wars Episode 5. Or, as people when this movie first came out thought, it was Star Wars 2.
Star Wars 2, baby.
That wasn't what it was. It was actually put out as The Empire Strikes Back, but you know what I mean. It was the second one to people back then. Second Star Wars movie made. This one has changed and has had a really massive impact on cinema.
Yes.
The whole twist at the end, and there's no spoiler warning, because if you haven't seen this yet...
It came out in 1980.
Yeah, something like that.
No, it did, because the first one came in 1977, second one 1980, and then third one 1983.
Okay.
It's easy to remember.
There you go.
We're nerds.
We're nerds. That's why you're listening to this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one, the whole twist ending with, this was one of the best.
There's a twist ending?
This is one of the best kept secrets of cinema. The twist ending where Vader was like, Luke, I am your father.
Actually, Ashton, did you know that there was a book before the movie came out?
But no one cared about the books back then.
My dad read the book, and he's like, dang. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, man. But yeah, so this was a crazy movie when it came out, because it was a movie that also showed that the heroes can lose. After A New Hope, we kind of leave off on this really big victory for the not resistance. Oh my gosh, I've been brainwashed by the sequels. Republic. For the rebels. Well, we have this big victory where they destroy the Death Star, obviously. And this one, it shows the Empire Strikes Back, so they're going in, they're not happy, they're mad, and this movie, I think, does the most in terms of character development for everyone involved. So Luke and Leia and Han and Chewie. I remember, I watched these movies with my dad when I was 10. And we left off with Empire. We watched A New Hope and Empire, I think within the same couple weeks. And for some reason, we waited a little bit to watch Return of the Jedi. I think it was just schedule stuff. I think he was on a business trip or something. But I had a friend over in the meantime, and I asked him, is Return of the Jedi as good as Empire? And he said, not really. And I was like, cool. I still really liked Return of the Jedi, but Empire will always be my favorite because I already felt like, I mean, even just talking to my friend, that this was peak Star Wars. It's my favorite Star Wars movie of all time, I should mention too. And yeah, there's so much I can say about this. So many iconic lines, even in Toy Story. Like Toy Story 2, they play off of that twist of like Zurg being Buzz's father and just all this other crap. And it's great. It's really impacted cinema in so many ways. The soundtrack, I think, when we think about Star Wars movie music with John Williams, we tend to think A New Hope had the best soundtrack, and it really is good. Empire brought in so much unique sounds to it and played off of the soundtrack in A New Hope, which again is just like crazy. And then we also think of Phantom Menace, obviously, because of Duel of the Fates. But yeah, this Empire, favorite Star Wars movie. The lightsaber duel, Luke losing his hand, just even the MCU paid homage to that. And like I think it was every movie in Phase 2 or something, they had a character lose a hand or an arm or something like that just to pay homage to it. There's so much I can say about this, but to me this is peak sci-fi, peak Star Wars, my favorite Star Wars movie. Fight me. And then
that's actually number 4.
That's my number 4.
So for my number 4 is Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope. So our lists are, so for 5 we had Nolan films, and now for 4 we have Star Wars films.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes sense. To me, and I think a lot of other people, they would say that A New Hope is a perfect movie.
Still respectable.
A perfect movie, and you don't get that very often.
Not at all.
Not at least not these days. You maybe get 1 or 2, but no, this one was like, this is what started sci-fi. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anyone says.
But Star Trek.
Yeah, I know, Star Trek. Okay, man, I love Star Trek. Star Trek, man. Dude, I'm like, I have a freaking model of the Enterprise in my bedroom, okay? I also have a Millennium Falcon and X-Wing in my bedroom, but that's not the point. Anyways, no, this movie inspired a lot of people. Dude, I don't think I have to say much about this movie because it's been around for a very long time. A lot of people have talked about it.
Yep.
It started the careers off with Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford was slightly like established, but not as like not as much as he is now with Indiana Jones and a lot of other things.
Blade Runner.
He was in 42, the Jackie Robinson movie. That was a good movie. Yeah, no, I think this movie demonstrates like the power that one man can have on a script, because this was George Lucas's like vision. This is what he wanted, with Ralph McQuarrie also doing like the illustrations and stuff. And dude, this movie's so iconic. Like, how many times do we reference like Punch a Chewie or like or
Use the Force, Luke.
It's the first time we ever saw that title crawl.
Yeah.
And dude, that still gives me the chills. I mean, it's the only time a Star Wars movie has a title crawl. It's not as good. I think the best title crawl is 4 and 5.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and then the prequels and the sequels, whatever. We don't talk about those. Yeah, no. My favorite part about this movie, similar to Ashton, is the score.
Yeah.
The score is it's always good.
It's always good.
Every single Star Wars movie, it's good. Even if it's the prequels, the sequels. Han Solo. Dude, Solo, that had a good score.
True.
That had a real good score.
Underrated.
Really underrated score. And you know the trench run.
Yeah.
I think the trench run is one of the most popular like scenes in all of cinema. Yeah, I don't think I have to say much.
I don't think you do either.
I don't think
it's
I have
pretty
to say
self-explanatory.
If everyone's seen this movie, well, okay, not everyone, but a majority of people have seen this movie. And like honestly, this movie is, I watch this movie like a few times a year. Just because I just put it on. It's like a steady movie. You just put it on, you watch it, you just hear it in the background, then you close your homework and then don't do your homework, and then you end up finishing the movie, and then you're like, oh, I should watch 5 and 6, and then you start watching 5 and 6. Yeah, definitely not from personal experience. Anyways, this movie is really good.
I got a question.
Yes.
Do you like watching the original cut or the remastered?
If I can get the original cut, I'll get the original cut. But it's hard to get the original cut.
Yeah.
I have the original cut. Yeah, we have it on VHS somewhere.
Dang. It's rare now.
It's rare. You can sell them for a pretty penny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just watch it on Disney Plus. I don't really care.
Yeah, same. I like the way that movies are upscaled and stuff in terms of all that, considering all that. I think this movie actually does a pretty good job of being upscaled if you see a newer version of it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and this movie's just timeless to me. Yeah, I don't think I have to say much more.
Yeah. Boom. There you go. It's a great movie.
Episode 4. All right, Ashton, let's talk about a couple honorable mentions.
Okay.
Yes.
So I got 2 honorable mentions here. My first one, my favorite MCU movie of all time.
Okay.
The original Iron Man.
Okay.
The one that arguably started it all. I don't even know if arguably is the word, but it started it all.
It did.
Brought Nick Fury in the end. I think the writing in this movie was great. I love sort of how we start out with the whole tank thing happening, and it starts out with drama, gets you captivated, and then it brings you back to, well, like, this is how the story started. And I think the pacing in this movie is great. The way that they actually use more practical effects in this movie for Iron Man's suit. One of my biggest gripes is, and again, I understand why they do it, but later on in the MCU, he's pretty much only wearing a chest piece, like RDJ. He's only wearing a chest piece. And in this movie, like, there was a lot more intricacies and little details that they had considered. And I think for what we got, it is amazing. Like, you can compare the first Iron Man to, like, Endgame. And the suits, like, you can tell one's more CGI than the other, and one feels a little more real.
Yeah. The first suit felt real.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my first honorable mention. My second one is Tangled.
Yes.
This is, I think this one has to be my favorite, or one of my favorite Pixar movies. Not my favorite, but one of my... Is it Pixar? Is it even Pixar? I think
no, it's just Disney.
It's just Disney? Okay.
It's just Disney.
But it's kind of like put in that like style and everything. Yeah. This one, with it being like a new like 3D animated Disney movie, when it came out, I was not super hyped about it. I thought it was like a cheesy princess movie because I was like 10 or something when it came out, right? But seeing like the lantern scene in 3D, getting the music stuck in my head, just laughing at Flynn Rider. Dude, so many good memories with this. Whenever I'm chilling with friends and we have a Disney playlist on, I know almost all the words to some of the most iconic songs from this movie. And it's great. I can just like belt out to it. I love it. So that's my second honorable mention there. Now, what do you got?
Oh, yes. 2 honorable mentions. I have the movie Annihilation.
Oh,
I believe
okay.
it's from 2016. I can't remember what year it came out. Natalie Portman, Tessa Thompson. It's about like self-destruction, but it's a sci-fi movie. It's about like these scientists who go into like this unknown environment, and eventually they get picked off one by one. And there's this being taking over people's bodies. But it's also about like a self-discovery of like why you do things. Like, why do you have an affair? Are you trying to self-destruct your marriage, or do you actually love that person? And it's really good. The visuals are amazing. I highly recommend watching this movie. It's not that hard to watch, so you can probably watch it with like teens, I suppose. One scene might be a little rough, but hey, whatever. Yeah, no, great sci-fi movie. And for my second honorable mention, it's probably arguably one of the best films of all time. The Godfather Part Two.
Hey.
The Godfather Part Two is a prequel, basically goes back in time and tells us the story. And I think this movie just does everything very well, from the acting to the screenwriting to the cinematography. And this movie took everything from The Godfather and doubled it. And we all know how good The Godfather is. If you haven't seen the Godfather trilogy, there's only 2 movies. The third one sucks. There's only 2 movies. Yeah, no, like I said, I don't think I have to say much about this movie, especially because it came out like 1960, whatever, 70 something, I don't know. But yeah, no, these are The Godfather Part Two is probably the top 5 movies of all time on a lot of like website lists. So give it a watch if you haven't seen it. Watch the whole trilogy. Yeah. Ashton, here we go. Let's go into number 4. No, number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3, and then we'll take a break.
Sounds good. So my number 3 is one that came out a little more recently, 1917. What is there really to say about this movie that hasn't been said?
This movie's so good.
It's so good. I love everything from the music, just how meticulous it was when they shot this movie, how impressive a lot of that was. Like, they had to build out like a lot of these scenarios and choreograph scenes so precisely so that they wouldn't get any production crew in, and they were on like a time schedule for how they could shoot these scenes. And then also just the casting pretty much like nobodies.
Yeah.
And kind of keeping them as nobodies, I would say, to emphasize the point. Like, soldiers, like, we don't understand, we don't know soldiers. They're kind of nobodies to us. Like, even a lot of the people in World War II, and of course culturally we celebrate this with the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and all that. So I think it was great that they didn't really have a lot of major casting for the main roles. They did include people like Benedict Cumberbatch later on in the movie.
Mark Strong was in this movie.
Mark Strong, yeah. And just, yeah, kind of spread out. But they don't steal the show. They're kind of there, and you kind of understand why they're there. Yeah, and like I said before, the soundtrack just... It hits different when you watch this movie. And I have a lot of it for study music as well. Who composed it? Good question, actually. I'm not sure.
Was it Hans Zimmer?
It might have been.
Keep on talking, I'll figure it out.
And honestly, I think just the direction this movie took in showing this story of a soldier in sort of this one take sort of visual, it kind of tells us, like, you feel like you're in the war with him. You feel like, you know, it's like morning time and then, you know, like daytime or nighttime or whatever. You feel like you're with him as the story's progressing, which most movies like have a hard time doing. Like, what happens during that one scene and that next day, right? And this story kind of brings you along for that ride. Yeah, so the composer for the soundtrack for this movie is Thomas Newman. And yeah, so he did The Shawshank Redemption as well. That's another notable one. American Beauty is pretty notable too. WALL-E, that's a big one. He's done a lot of interesting and really great music, and this is no exception. Dude, like, if this is my go-to war movie now, I love this. Like, I love checking out new war movies, especially on Remembrance Day. That's something that me and my siblings do. Yeah. But whenever I just need to, like, sit down, and if I want to watch, like, a war movie, or if I'm in the mood for that, which it's a wild mood, this is the one I'll put on. Took the spot of Hacksaw Ridge, which is also a great movie.
Great movie.
But yeah, this is like the war movie that I would point people to. Also, practical effects are amazing in this too.
Yeah. One thing I'll say about 1917 is it feels like you're in the story.
Yeah.
There's no breaks because the story. Yeah, we won't spoil much about it, but it's the soldiers. They're on a time crunch and they got to get there pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And it feels like you're just there with them. It feels slightly like a video game because all like the big actors, they come in at checkpoints.
True.
So like checkpoints, quote unquote. And it's a really good movie that, like, I think when it first came out, people didn't give it the recognition it deserved.
100%.
Did you watch this in theaters?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
So I was one of those people too.
Oh man, no, I saw it opening day, man. I saw this with my dad. It was really good.
Dang.
I think the way that you have to watch this movie is with a group of people.
100%.
Just because it's like, and ooh, and oh no. So, no, like, especially in the last half an hour of this movie is probably some of the best war movie stuff we've seen in a long time.
Oh, for sure.
And there's a lot more emotional moments in this movie than other war movies.
Yep.
Just because it's based on a relationship between two soldiers, technically, at some point. And, you know, just the way war works, it just doesn't take any prisoners. And that's really, like, shown in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I should talk about it. And I'm my number 3 movie now too. My number 3 movie. No, not 2. 3 movie is kind of a war movie too, but not really. It's Top Gun from 1986.
Ayo.
Tom Cruise, Anthony Edwards, Tom Skerritt, Kerry McGillis. I love this movie for such a long time. I'm really looking forward to Top Gun Maverick coming out in May, because it's been delayed for 2.5 years because of COVID and rewrites and reshoots and everything else. Top Gun. It's kind of like my childhood movie because I watched this a lot with my dad when I was a kid. Probably not the best movie to show your kids, but we're clearly not normal guys, so that is probably why. I love this movie so much. I love planes.
Yeah.
I love airplanes, and this movie's about fighter pilots, and just their lives, and it's really compelling. You think it wouldn't be, but it really is. But hands down, the best part of this movie is not the score. The score is really, really good. But no, it's the soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's the soundtrack by Kenny Loggins. You got Cheap Trick in there. Danger Zone, probably the best.
100%.
So good.
Even if you don't know this movie, you know that song.
Danger Zone! Oh, yeah, you know it. And Take My Breath Away. Mighty Wings. The soundtrack is really good. This is probably peak Tom Cruise. I would say peak Tom Cruise. It would be this, Jerry Maguire, and Risky Business. I think those are his prime movies. Other than the Mission Impossible movies now, which are really good.
Yeah.
No, I think this is not his best performance, but I think it's his best movie. Also, Fu Good Men. But I think the reason why this movie's so good is just because of the supporting cast. I think Anthony Edwards as Goose, who, spoiler alert, dies in the film, gives that emotional punch for Maverick, who is Tom Cruise, to keep on going. And if you don't know what Top Gun is, it's this top fighter pilot academy in the States. And pilots from all around the country come and they compete for those jobs, and they have to fight the Russians. Is it the Russians or Germans? I can't remember. But they have to fight someone, and it's just not. It's a movie where you don't know when you first watch it, you don't know what to expect, but then you're oh, this makes sense, and then you start picking up on story beats, and I think the moments that the characters aren't in the planes and just hanging out and talking and drinking beer is probably the best stuff in the movie, because that's where you get character development. This movie is it deals with mental health and depression and stuff and drinking and all that. I wouldn't say fun stuff, but all that stuff. Have you seen this movie?
I saw it a long time ago.
Okay.
So yeah,
in
it's been a while.
Yes.
Yes, I was definitely alive then.
Yes, me too, man. I've been
saw
waiting
this
since
in
1986. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we paid 25 cents to go watch this movie.
Back in the good old days.
Back in the good old days when movies were 25 cents and not $15 and 50 cents.
And you didn't have to sell a kidney to get popcorn with that.
Gosh, popcorn cost me 50 cents.
Probably costs almost as much as the movie ticket now.
Do you know what, Ashton? Since we love movies so much, I think the people who are listening deserve to have one more honorable mention before we go to break. Off the top of your head, just think of a movie.
Well, joke's on you. I already thought of this.
Oh gosh.
So my next honorable mention is going to be The Dark Knight. Forget, did you mention this in your list already?
No, you that was mine. That was gonna be mine.
Gonna be yours.
That's okay. You go, bro. I'm not even mad.
So, last episode we talked a lot about Christopher Nolan and his movies. You're gonna have to tune in if you're listening to this episode and you haven't listened to that episode, go listen to that one because it's great. But yeah, The Dark Knight is one of the greatest movies Christopher Nolan has put out, I would say. I think just showing his balance between sort of chaos versus justice is a great visual representation of what that looks like. You kind of have the Joker, who you're not supposed to feel any sympathy for. He's just sort of this villain who comes in. You actually don't really know much about him. You just know he's here to mess crap up.
Yeah.
And then you have Batman, of course, who has to make really tough moral decisions in this movie. So this is not like, as far as modern comic book movies go, this is definitely not your your normal MCU movie or anything like that. It's unique. I think this is actually part of the Nolan trilogy that can be watched on its own.
Yes.
Just because like Batman Begins kind of establishes the character, but you don't actually like, and it takes off after the events of that. So Batman doesn't have the Wayne Manor anymore, so he's kind of hiding on this other place. But that's more just, those are plot details, not super important. Rachel was recasted as
Rachel. Where's she?
Where's Rachel? Where's Rachel?
Where's Rachel?
You're Maggie Gyllenhaal, not Rachel. Oh yeah, but yeah, it was a great movie. Love this one. There's so much that can be said about it, but it's definitely up there on my list of my favorite comic book themed movies. I would say themed movies, because I don't even think you have to be a comic book movie fan to watch this.
No, it's just a guy in a black suit beating up a Joker.
Pretty much. If you're just a fan of Christopher Nolan movies or good cinema, watch this one. 100% watch this one.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Do you have another one?
I do have an honorable mention. So this is a movie I saw last year. It's called The Last Duel. It's directed by Ridley Scott, and this movie bombed really, really hard. Just because no one's interested in movies like this anymore. It's a war drama about the last duel in England, and but behind that, it's a story. It's a very delicate story. I'm gonna give a trigger warning. This movie is about sexual assault, but this movie is, when I saw this movie, I was blown away. Like, I did a whole movie review on my YouTube channel, Van City Net. Check it out.
Shout out.
But like, the reason why I want to talk about this movie is because there's not a lot of stories being told like this. It's told from 3 different perspectives. From the husband of a couple, the best friend of the husband of the couple, and then the wife of the couple. And the way that Ridley Scott's direction like really shines through here is like, everything's very nuanced. Everything seems very personal and grounded, and it's like in the real world. The movie is basically how the last duel happened, and because of a sexual assault, there was a duel, and that's pretty much how it went. And that was the last, like, I think, court dated duel in England. The performances are probably the best part of this movie. You have Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Adam Driver, and a up-and-coming actress that I want to talk about a little bit is Jodie Comer.
Yeah.
She was in Free Guy, Killing Eve. Killing Eve's really good. You should watch Killing Eve.
I should.
She is going to be a big actress in Hollywood in the next 5 to 10 years. From in the next 10 years, not 5-10 years. The way that she portrays this character, Marguerite is the character's name, is very good. I think the way the vulnerability in performance really hits everyone in the field. I went to see this on a Tuesday around 11 o'clock. It was me and this other guy, so we just started talking in the theater. It was just really good to like watch a movie like that. It's like, it's medieval times, so it's like, got knight swords and like knights and stuff. It's really gory, really not for the faint of heart, also because of the sexual assault. But I think it doesn't show anything. I promise, it doesn't show anything. Nothing is shown, but it is implied. And I think this is what movies were kind of made for, to tell stories that are kind of lost in history. Man, getting kind of deep here, but like, no, this movie is really good. I highly recommend watching this movie. If you love movies, if you don't, maybe not. Maybe skip this one. It's on Disney Plus right now, so give that a watch. But other than that, maybe make sure the kids are asleep before you watch this one. We know we need more movies like this.
Yeah.
But we also just need to watch more movies in general, because Hollywood's putting more stuff out and sequels are happening, and we just need more original movies.
I agree. We're kind of getting oversaturated with non-original
I
stuff.
can go without a Marvel movie and a Star Wars movie for like 2 years.
Yeah, it pains me to say it, but I think same.
I think I would be more hyped if Disney just took a break on the MCU and like Star Wars, man. I'm just getting sick.
Yeah,
it's too much. I love the stuff, man. We talked about it a lot, but like
we technically did have like a long period between Endgame and Black Widow.
That's true.
But yeah, Far From Home and Black Widow.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's a difference between telling good stories and being able to tell good stories while also making a buck. And I just really care about good stories and not being oversaturated.
Yeah,
it's the Call of Duty effect.
The Call of Duty effect.
That's what I call it.
Yeah. Anything before we go break, Ashton?
I don't think so. I think we're good.
We're gonna go out for lunch, and then we're gonna record part 2 in the evening.
Yeah.
Just the way our schedule works today. All right, guys. Enjoy a word from our sponsors, and see you after the break.
Bye.
This episode of Nerds and Flannel is sponsored by Anchor.fm. Anchor.fm is the best place to make and record podcasts. We use it for every single episode. We absolutely love using Anchor. Very convenient. Doesn't cost us a thing. But recently we want to start making premium content for you guys. So that means we would have to put it under a paywall. And in order to watch and listen to those videos, Ashton's going to tell you where to do that.
Yeah. So where you want to go if you want to support this podcast is anchor.fm/nerdsandflannel/subscribe. Again, that is anchor.fm/nerdsandflannel/subscribe. Huge shout out to anchor.fm for sponsoring this podcast and for being an awesome platform for whatever your podcast needs are.
Yes, thank you, Anchor. Hey guys, welcome back.
Hello.
Ashton, I'm thirsty.
I know that.
Wait,
you already have a girlfriend.
Wait, no. Oh my god. Cut. No. We have to leave that in now. There's no going back.
There's no going back.
Ashton, my throat is dry, so I need liquid to lubricate it. Why did I say lubricate?
This is just getting weird.
Oh no!
Okay. By the second.
Ashton, I need a drink. Let's have a drink.
Okay.
We got some Mountain Dew here. These are in bottles, so we're gonna do a little crack open. Oh yeah.
Not quite the same, but it's different. It's different, you know.
You get what you get. Also, you get what you get for $1 from the Dollarama.
There you go.
All right. Yeah, guys, welcome back. So we are into the last top 2 movies of our lists. Here's a little, if you guys don't know, here's a recap. For my 3rd, I have Top Gun. For my 4th, I have Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. For number 5, I have Interstellar. For number 6, I have The Social Network. For number 7, I have Tick Tick Boom. For number 8, I have Warrior. And for number 9, I have Ratatouille. And for number 10, I have Licorice Pizza. Ashton, recap.
Cool. For my number 3, I have 1917. Number 4 is The Empire Strikes Back. Number 5, Inception. Number 6, La La Land. Number 7, Logan. Number 8, Get Smart. Number 9, Aladdin, the original. And number 10, Deadpool.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about number 2, honorable mention. Actually, number 2, 2 honorable mentions, and then we'll hit our number 1, and then that'll be it.
Cool.
So, I can go first.
Do it.
I can go first. Yeah. So my number 2. I kind of cheated, so I slightly cheated a little bit, because it's our lists. Too bad. We are the rules. So for number 2, I have Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. These movies are just very influential for a lot of filmmakers. There's nothing much I want to say, just because I feel like these are 2 movies you have to go in without knowing anything. It helps because it's based off a book. If you guys didn't know, the original Blade Runner by Ridley Scott is based off Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Yeah,
it's such a weird book.
Yeah, I know. It's true, though. I actually have the book somewhere. I think Chanel has my book somewhere. Dang. I don't know. Yeah, no, it's a really good book. Turned to a great movie. I believe it came in 1984, I want to say. Something like that. Sure, we'll go with that. And very influential for sci-fi and noir films, just because like it's like a detective film set in like a dystopian cyberpunk type of environment. Rick Deckard, played by Harrison Ford in the original one, probably one of his best performances other than Han Solo and Indiana Jones. Thank you.
There we go.
Oh my gosh, I was blanking. You also have Rutger Hauer as Roy Batty, who plays the villain, and then who gives the iconic Tears in Rain speech. Even if you don't know the movie, you know that scene. Then the sequel that came out in 2016, Blade Runner 2049, you have Ryan Gosling coming as Officer K, who is a replicant who gets caught in a like war between two factions which want to kill him, and because there's uprising and people don't want that happening, especially the government people. And then Ana de Armas, who plays Love. Wait, is it Love? I can't remember. No, it's not Love. Oh crap, I forgot her character name. But no, she's in it. She plays Ryan Gosling's like love interest. She's a hologram, so she's like AI, but it's very good. Obviously Harrison Ford comes back. Jared Leto comes in as the villain, and I think he does a great job. Actually, the acting is just in both movies. The acting is good. If you don't know what the movie's about, it's about Blade Runners who are pretty much hired assassins to kill replicants who are like robot androids who got like deformed brain things because so they go like out of the programming, and Blade Runners are in charge of killing the replicants. And it's a very interesting film about, both films are about like what it means to be human. But if you want to go deeper, it is the question is, what does it feel like to be human? And both movies dive into that concept very well. These movies are really good looking. Probably some of the, Blade Runner 2049 won an Oscar for Best Cinematography, so these movies look great. Roger Deakins was the cinematographer of that one, and Roger Deakins he actually did 1917, which is, we all know that movie's great.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to say too much more, just because I feel like I want people to watch these movies, like, without too much context. And so my number 2 is Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. Ashton, number 2 for you.
Okay, number 2 for me.
You were debating this one a little bit, weren't you?
I was. This one was a bit of a tussle.
Our top 4 was a little bit hard to
Our top 4 was really hard to pick initially. Dude, we've been planning out this list for weeks.
Weeks, man.
It's nice to finally have something solidified, though. So this movie, I want to take you back to a simpler time when movies were reliant on, I don't want to say reliant, but heavily influenced by more medieval times, where there's, your classic sword battles, you have your princess in there somewhere, you have your pirates, all this stuff. So, the one I'm going to mention as my number 2 is The Princess Bride.
Yeah, baby.
This movie is a classic. I remember watching this as a kid. It was one of the only movies that I could agree on watching with the rest of my family, including my mom and sister. It has a really good, really well done story, a really interesting and engaging plot. The acting in this movie, I would say, is pretty top tier, and even a lot of the practical effects that they used is great.
It holds up.
It holds up, but I would say the thing that holds up the most is its influence on pop culture, and just some of the iconic lines, some of the iconic scenes. You have like the poison scene for one, and then you also have like Andre the Giant doing his like giant things.
Whoa, you can imagine.
You have, my name is Amingo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. I'm not actually going to try to do a full-on accent because that's a little sketch.
It was pretty good. Not bad.
Dude, just all these things. The sword fight between Wesley and Amigo Montoya is just fantastic. We actually showed that at the youth group I serve at a couple weeks ago.
Good clean movie.
Good clean movie ish. The whole like twist where I'm actually left-handed and just man, so many great scenes. Such a captivating plot, and with the whole story being told as if it's out of a storybook in the narrative anyway, because it takes place with a grandpa reading this to his grandson, who's living in this age where he's, you know, like highly addicted to video games and movies and all this stuff. And just to see that bonding happen, and you know you're engaged in the plot because like the kid's engaged in it.
Yeah.
Great movie.
It's
great
very
movie
charming.
of our age. Very charming too, yeah. And just a lot of the character development, especially with people like Buttercup, is great. Like, dude, it's... I don't even know if I can say any more about it. I think if you haven't seen this movie yet...
What are you doing?
Go watch it. And if you have seen it, you know what I'm talking about.
Or watch it again!
Or watch it again. Yeah, it's one that I can rewatch so many times and not get tired of. I have watched it so many times and I haven't gotten tired of it. Also, one more quick thing. The prosthetics with the, what he's, like the wizardy, like
Isn't it Mel Brooks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
I think so.
Let's say it is.
Cool. Yeah, just the prosthetics to make them look a lot older than the old couple than they actually are. So great.
Yeah, it's like I said before, it's a very charming movie that like a lot of people love. Pretty well loved by everyone. People who don't like it just don't get the humor.
Yeah.
if you don't like the movie, you just don't know the humor. It's a good movie.
As you wish.
As you wish. Oh my gosh.
And that swamp rat scene gave me nightmares as a kid.
The swamp rat. Oh, actually, do you know what? So quick thing. I've never fully seen that movie till like the summer.
Oh shoot!
And Chanel showed it to me. I'm like, it's pretty good.
It's really good.
It's actually really good. I knew all the quotes and stuff because it's pretty iconic.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, it's like what you said. It's charming. I would say it's timeless. It's still. I think they should release like upscaled versions of this movie for like those people that really care about seeing.
No, they have a 4K version of it on Blu-ray.
Oh, do they now?
Yeah, it's a steel book. It's a nice cover.
Yo, Willow Run.
You gotta find it somewhere, man.
Yeah,
you gotta find it.
Gotta get this thing on my shelf. I have the DVD, and that thing has been used so many times.
Gotta buy a new one.
Yeah, exactly.
Put the old one out of its misery.
Pretty much.
So we can do a couple honorable mentions, but Ashton, doing this list, it's got me thinking. We should do a top 10 TV shows of all time.
I agree.
I know. We talked about this already, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do that next week.
Yeah.
We'll plan for something. Because actually, no, Batman's coming out next week.
True. So we have to do something.
So we can do that. We should do something leading up to that.
Yep.
And then we'll figure out something. Okay. For my first honorable mention, we'll go back and forth for this. I want to take you back to a simpler time. A time where Nat was 5 and I was just chilling, and there's nothing, no school, and I was just like spending time at home, eating cereal, candy, whatever I was eating. And I want to tell you a story. Well, I am telling you a story. But there's Nat sitting there early in the morning and I'm watching this movie that I watched 100 times. And that movie,
it's Cars 2, guys. It's
not Cars 2! Freak Cars 2! Cars 2! I hate that movie! Oh, freaking Spy Cars.
Spy Cars.
No. Dude, that movie's actually really dark if you think about it. In the
is.
beginning, they squish that car and they make it like a cube. Oh my gosh. Remember on the boat?
They completely deform like a living...
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh.
Tokyo Drift references in that movie's great though.
Yeah, no. Okay, anyways, that movie is Lilo and Stitch.
Hey.
No. This is a pretty fun childhood movie for myself. I watch it in the good times. I watch it in the bad times. It's just like a movie I put on, just to watch over again. Probably some of the most charming animation from Disney Pixar around that time.
Agreed.
It actually apparently I was watching a documentary, and they were explaining how this kind of saved Disney because they kind of had a couple misses like Atlantis and Treasure Planet that kind of failed. So they had Lilo and Stitch, and it came out and it's pretty popular and everyone loved it because Stitch is amazing. Hannah means family. Family means no one gets left behind or forgotten. Yeah, so I can do a Stitch voice. So, yeah, and, I grew up watching this movie with my parents and my cousins, and I'm pretty sure I dressed up as Stitch for Halloween when I was a little boy. I would still dress up for Stitch as Halloween now. Yeah, I know. I just think the voice acting is really great. Chris Sanders as Stitch, and Dakota Fanning as Lilo, and you have.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
Yo.
Is it Dakota Fanning? I'm pretty sure it's Dakota Fanning.
I mean, I don't know. That.
Let's check.
It would make sense. But
no, it is. I'm pretty sure it is. And Stitch cast. I'm pretty sure it is.
Dang. I did not know that.
Oh, no, not Dakota Fanning. Oh, my gosh, I'm so high. DeVale, what did I think was Dakota Fanning? DeVale Chase. Who the heck are you, man? Oh, my, I don't even know.
Dang.
Wow. I don't deserve this movie. I should take this movie back off the list. I don't deserve this movie.
Did she play her in any of the sequels?
Yeah, she was in the sequel and the TV show. Yeah. Oh, she was also in Spirited Away, too. I don't know who she voiced, but she was in Spirited Away.
Dang.
Yeah. She played, in Spirited Away, she played Chihiro. Oh, the girl. She played the young girl. Anyways, yeah, no Lilo and Stitch. That's my honorable mention. Ashton, off to you.
Cool. So my next honorable mention
Dakota
is going...
Dakota Fanning. What a joke. I'm so sorry.
Jeez.
What a joke.
So my next honorable mention is going to be a movie that we've actually talked about on the podcast before. We talked about it in our DC movie roundup.
Oh, I think I know what it is.
So this one, I would not classify it as a typical superhero or comic book movie.
Wait, Ashton, is this what you're talking about?
Nope.
It's not. Okay, continue. Go.
This one, I watched it, and it left me thinking. And I think we mentioned this before in the last episode. A movie that leaves you thinking is a good movie. It's not that one either.
Oh, what the heck? I'm trying to type out movies and guess. Oh, okay, whatever.
This one is, I'm going to give it away right here. It's more of a social commentary than anything.
This one? Oh, is it the...
Wobber.
Is that the...
Joker, yeah.
Oh!
Were you not saying Joker?
I thought it was Wonder Woman. Oh, my bad, guys.
So, yeah, 2019 Joker with Joaquin Phoenix is going to be my next honorable mention. I like this movie, but there are certain movies in life that you can watch one time, and 1 or 2 times is enough. Mm-hmm. Because this movie is not a feel-good movie. It is not a comic book movie. Like, you could take out all the Batman characters, and it would be still one really great movie.
Yeah.
So it follows Joker, and the question it tries to answer is, what does society need to do to a man to make him turn into just this crazed psychopath, like the Joker is? And it shows so much, and I think a lot of what it shows is based in reality. This movie has been used in like psychology classes. It has been used in film classes. The way this movie is shot, the color palette that they use, and just the writing, the music, it all brings together, and it's this very slow build-up of seeing Joker be born, pretty much. It's a crazy movie. Definitely watch it once, but if a lot of it's hard to watch. A lot of it could be triggering for you. So if you're someone who might get upset with some of the themes it might show,
maybe skip this one. Yeah.
But I think
we care for you guys.
Exactly, yeah. I think this movie, for what it is, it's like, for what movies can... It shows what movies can do, and how they can impact and really tell the average person and teach the average person stuff about society. So again, that's like a societal commentary, the purpose of one, and that is my honorable mention right there.
Okay, give me another one.
Cool.
Do you have another one?
I do have another one.
Okay.
I'm trying... Okay, I think
How many more do you have?
I had one more after this one.
One more after this one, or one more after Joker?
Oh, like I had 3 honorable mentions.
Oh, we can do as many as we want.
Cool.
I have 2 more that I want to talk about.
It's our podcast. We make the rules.
We can do whatever we want.
Do you want to share the next one, and then I'll go next?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then should we do?
We'll do. I'll do another one. You do another one.
And we'll just.
And we'll do another one, and then we'll do another one. So we'll do 2 more honorable mentions, and then we'll do our number 1. We just want to stretch this out as long as we can.
Pretty much.
We want to keep you guys invested.
Yes, sir.
Yes. For my next honorable mention, I'm gonna type it in.
Okay.
We have a doc that has everything on it, so we can kind of keep track of what we are talking about.
Oh, good choice.
So,
I was thinking.
You know what? I was actually thinking putting this in my top 10. This was pretty close. I originally had this in my honorable mention for my actual list on my YouTube channel, VanceNet. If you check it out. Yeah, my next honorable mention is the movie Forrest Gump. Dude, who doesn't like this movie? This movie is so good.
It's so good.
Tom Hanks giving his second best performance. I still think Philadelphia is his best performance, which he did win an Oscar for. I will say he did win an Oscar for Philadelphia. Yeah, but Forrest Gump, directed by Robert Zemeckis, I believe in 1990. I just dropped my phone. Give me 1 second. Oh my gosh.
It's okay. It didn't land screen first, so you're good.
Dude, we're falling apart here. No. Yeah, Forrest Gump was one of those movies where I watched when I was like really getting into movies. I was like 15 or 16, and we had Forrest Gump like on our shelf for the longest time. So I'm like, "What is this movie, Mom?" And my mom's like, "Oh yeah, that movie's good. Pop it in." Little did she know that she forgot there was weird stuff in it. It is rated R for a reason because of pretty. I won't say much. No, this movie's just really good. Follows a man named Forrest Gump, and his journey, and it's kind of a true underdog story. People love those type of stories just because he had like the doctor said he wouldn't walk properly again. And then, that scene where he, like, runs and the braces break off. And, she's like, "Run, Forrest, run!" And then, he keeps on running. And this movie's just about, like, the heart of a man trying to, like, do the best he can. And he meets a lot of people on the way, makes a lot of friends. Bubba, Lieutenant Dan, Jenny is also the name of my car.
Wait, which car?
The white one, the Tercel. Yeah, it's her unofficial name is the Razor Crest, but her name is actually Jenny. Because every car deserves it has to be a woman name.
Mine's Gerbil.
Yeah, we have to talk about that later. Anyways, no, this movie is just really good. Like he goes through a bunch of historical events, many presidents, and then he ends up owning a stock in Apple and a fruit company. And then probably gave us one of the most iconic sayings ever. My mom always told me life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. That was terrible. That was absolutely terrible.
You tried.
I don't know I even tried. Oh, man. Yeah, no. Forrest Gump, one of the best films ever made.
Agreed.
Not my top 10, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Another honorable mention for you, Ashton.
Cool. My next honorable mention, I think it's going to have to be the movie Knives Out.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby.
This movie, I think, was this one 2018 or 2019?
I want to say COVID.
Or was it 2020?
I think it was 2019.
Okay. Yeah, so this movie is sort of like this murder mystery, but it's such it's done in such an interesting way where halfway through the movie you find out like what happened with the murder, but then there's just this other twist, and it makes it so engaging and so different than what you would get from other movies in this genre. So I think in terms of murder mysteries, this one completely added something. Yeah. It's top notch. It added something to the genre, made it sort of fresh. I think before this, the most notable one was probably Murder on the Orient Express. Also a great movie. But I think Knives Out is just... it does so many things right. And this one actually does give us a little bit of a social commentary as well.
Yeah. Love those type of movies.
Yeah. We just... all the hidden themes that they can fit in, which are so obvious, but you still have to dig a little bit. It's great. It's a great combination. And, man, the actors that they have in this, Daniel Craig, for starters, and then Ana de Armas, and is that how you pronounce her name?
Ana de Armas, Ana de Armas. I don't think it really matters. Sorry, Anna. Anna, whatever. If you're listening, come on the pod, please.
Yeah. So, low-key, one of Nat's celebrity crushes, and mine too.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Why would you expose me like that? Whatever.
Hey, that'd be an interesting podcast episode.
Celebrity crushes? That's going to have to be like a premium episode.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to have to pay for that episode.
Hey, if you're someone who would pay for it, let us know.
Yeah.
We'll put it out.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Chris Evans is in this one as well. Oh, and the old man. What's his face?
Christopher Plummer,
yeah. He does an excellent job in this. R.I.P. Yeah, so that's going to be my next honorable mention. Great movie. If you haven't seen it, I don't really want to spoil anything, because that's the whole point of a murder mystery, is you're supposed to try to figure some of this stuff out. But yeah, give this one a go. I think it's a pretty safe one too.
Yeah. No, it's a pretty appropriate movie to watch.
Yeah.
Just swearing. There's nothing like sexual in it. So you're good most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And can't wait for the sequel too.
Yes, the sequel's gonna be on a boat apparently.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
Yes. One more honorable mention, and then we're gonna hit our number one. Do you have one?
I do have one.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, my last honorable mention is going to be a movie that it almost pains me in a way to say it, but it doesn't at the same time. So, if you've been keeping up with the Star Wars movies lately...
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I have had a problem with what Disney has done. The TV shows have been great. Love the TV shows. The live action movies have not been up to par. It's actually not that one.
Oh, it's not that one?
I'm not a really big fan of any of these ones particularly, except for one, and that one is Rogue One.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So Rogue One, this movie, it has a little bit of a rough start. And some of the character development is honestly not as good as what you would want from a Star Wars movie, especially when you contrast it to the original trilogy, which had excellent character development throughout the course of all three films. This movie, I think, was a necessary movie to make, and it was done in such a cool way. A lot of controversy behind this one, especially with them bringing back Tarkin, Peter Cushing from the dead, and then also Carrie Fisher. That one was a little less controversial because
she passed away.
Like, she passed away, but while they were making this movie, she did give her consent to have that made for her scene.
She passed away like 2 weeks after the movie came out.
Yeah, R.I.P. I was really sad about that. But this movie really showcases like a lot of the power of the Death Star. Yeah. The power of Darth Vader.
We gotta talk about that after.
We gotta talk about that. I want to talk about that. Yeah. But it also focuses so well on sort of the Rebels' mission to grab the Death Star plans. And it leads, like, you can watch this, and I have watched this back to back with A New Hope, and it just transitions perfectly. Yeah. And I think that's really all I could have ever asked from this movie to do, and it does give me a little bit more than what I thought it was going to give me. So, again, it solves its problems, but I think if you're looking, or if you're wondering what the best Disney Star Wars movie is, I think a lot of people would agree that it's this one.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah. Like, it gives you, like, updated visuals, like, the CGI is really great in this. The practical effects they use are really great. Yeah. The way that they film this thing, really great. It's true to how some of the shots in A New Hope were shot. And yeah, I mean, it's an anthology film, so it's not really considered part of like the Skywalker saga per se.
But it doesn't need to be.
It doesn't need to be.
It's perfect.
And that's kind of the charm of this movie as well.
Yeah, Rogue One is probably one of the best looking Star Wars movies to date. So I wanted to say. Oh yeah, but I do agree with what Ashton said. The character development is quite lacking. Because no one's gonna know Jyn Erso or Cassian Andor or Chirrut Inouye or Yeah, see, you guys probably didn't even know those were characters in the movie. We're just really nerdy, so I know all the names.
Yeah. Although the Andor TV show is coming out pretty soon too.
Dude, I thought it was canceled.
I think like it was delayed, but they've been filming it for a while now.
Dude, if it comes out, it comes out. I'm just Star Wars, sure.
There's a trailer already.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, and dude, that Darth Vader scene towards the end of the movie,
so good.
Dude, I think that scene has been Darth Vader for me forever. Mm-hmm. Because in Episode 4, just the lightsaber fights, like just two old guys hitting sticks together. This one, he's like freaking level 99 boss battle, and he's like flipping guys and choking them, and yeah. But imagine, I really didn't like that they showed us Darth Vader in the trailer or at any other where. Sorry, I can't talk. I didn't like how they showed him in the trailer and at the beginning of the movie. I think if they just showed him at that scene would have been so much more impactful.
So much better.
See, I want to do a cut of like just like cutting out scenes that are necessary. We do it the flannel cut. That's what we call it.
The flannel cut. I like it.
Yeah. No, great pick. Great honorable mention. Yeah. Rogue One and I would say Solo is probably the top movies that Disney has made.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, Last Jedi is amazing.
Hey.
No, Last Jedi is amazing. Can't change my mind.
Hey.
Force Awakens, what?
As a movie, Last Jedi is great. As a Star Wars movie, I hate it.
As a Star Wars movie, it's amazing.
Hey.
It's amazing. What are you talking about? Dude, that movie's so good. It's better than Rise of Skywalker.
Debate episode. I agree with that, though.
It's better than The Force Awakens.
No.
Yes. Fight me.
Fight me.
Dude, what are you talking about? That force projection was off the chain, bro. That force projection was so good. Anyways, my next honorable mention and my last honorable mention is a movie that came out 1 year before Episode 4 did.
Oh, okay.
In 1976, there was a little movie called Rocky that came out.
Hey.
And Rocky is probably one of my favorite film franchises, especially because of the Creed movies that came out. No, this movie inspired a lot of people, and it's a pretty good underdog story. Who directed this movie? Directed by John G. Avildsen. Stars Sylvester Stallone, who wrote the screenplay. And man, this movie is just probably one of the best boxing movies and underdog movies to ever hit theaters. 91% of Rotten Tomatoes. It didn't cost much to make. I can't remember the numbers, but it was pretty cheap. Sylvester Stallone, Talia Shire, Carl Weathers. This movie is just one of the most iconic movies of all time. With the training montage, with "I'm Gonna Fly Now," and man, that scene will never get out of my head because it's so good. That's all I have to say. And Sylvester Stallone, like his performance in that is good. Soundtrack is amazing. I feel like we talk about soundtracks a lot.
We do. We need to do an episode.
We need to do a full episode on that.
100%.
Because that's gonna be a really long episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Dude, I just watched Rocky for the first time earlier last year.
Really?
Yeah.
It's good, right?
It's good.
Yeah, I think it's the best one.
I haven't seen any of the other ones yet.
You should.
I want to see Rocky 2. I heard that one's pretty okay.
They're pretty good. I have all of them. I'll lend them to you.
Dope.
Rocky 4 is probably my low-key favorite out of them.
Oh, boy.
But it's just because it's really, like, it's 90s camp. So it's, like, robots.
Dude, this movie's so iconic, though. Like, even before I watched the movie, I went to Philly, got my photo taken with the statue.
Oh, I gotta go to Philly.
Ran up those iconic stairs while blasting the song, like the do-do-do-do.
That's John Cena, bro.
Frick me!
John Cena.
Frick me! How did I mess that up?
This is the John Cena theme, Freddie. Oh god.
How did I mess that up? So wrestling and boxing are so different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Da-da-do. It's that one, right?
Do-do-do.
Yeah. Okay. I know that much. I redeemed myself, kind of. Yeah. Ran up those stairs with some friends while blasting that one. It's great.
All right. Should we do number 1, Ashton?
I think we should.
Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
You know what? You do the honors.
Okay. It's funny. It's funny that we're talking about this movie. around this time, because 5 years ago, I believe, at the 2017 Oscars, there was a little faux pas that happened with the whole Best Picture deal.
Yes.
And my favorite movie of all time was snubbed of an Oscar because someone messed up with cards. My favorite movie of all time is La La Land. I guess, like I've said many times before on this podcast, I'm a huge musical guy, and I watched this movie many times. This movie is, dude, it's just really good.
It's a good movie.
Ashton had a number 6.
Yeah, this is the one movie where we have overlap on our list.
The only one movie.
Besides the honorable mentions, which I think we'd agree on.
Do we have overlap for the honorable mentions?
Well, I mean, not explicitly. But
okay.
I'd agree with some of your honorable mentions.
Yeah, no, I agree with maybe... all but one. I won't tell you which one, though. We're going to find out.
Tropic Thunder?
Yeah. No. You have Emma Stone. You have Ryan Gosling, J.K. Simmons, John Legend, Finn Whitrock. You guys don't know who those people are, but no. So, funny story. I watched this for the first time with my mom and my cousins, and we had no idea what to expect. We just thought it was like a musical because we like love musicals, so we just went to watch it, and I was blown away. Like, I've never been more blown away from a movie except Infinity War. Like emotionally distraught.
Dang.
No, because I like before then I was watching movies that had always had a good happy ending, and with this movie, it's very melancholic because like they should have been together. It's about this jazz artist, this jazz pianist, an actor, and they meet under like ideal circumstances, and they fall in love. But what do you want to pick? You can pick love or your career more, because they were both set in their ways. One wanted to be a big actor, one wanted to own a jazz club, and sometimes that's just not going to work. And I'm going to say it. I think Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling aren't the best singers.
I agree with that.
They are not the best singers, but I think for this role it worked because they gave so much charm. It was just very charming and very like they brought like everything they had to this role. Emma Stone did win an Oscar for Best Actress in a Leading Role, and Ryan Gosling was nominated, but he didn't win. I can't remember who won that year, but it doesn't matter. He's number one in my heart. Yes, La La Lander for life. Dude, like. The soundtrack in this movie is really good. Another Day in Sun, Audition, but my favorite is me and Sebastian's theme, which is just it's just piano. But there's something about it, like me listening to it, just like it gets me ready to do stuff. Also, the 7-minute epilogue, which is
so good.
Oh, that'll get you.
Different.
That'll get you. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering a lot. It's just like, it's hard to explain why I love this movie so much. I've seen it maybe over 100 times, and I'm not even kidding. I have this movie downloaded on my iPad. I watch it. When we go camping in the summer, I watch this movie every single night before I go to bed. It's like my camping movie, just because it's. What am I going to do? Look out in the wilderness when I'm camping? No, I'm going to watch La La Land.
The stars.
Yeah, city of stars. Are they shining just for me? Yeah, we're obviously not singers.
We're not.
Yeah. Damien Chazelle, also the director, won a Oscar for this. This movie won a lot of Oscars. That's all I'm saying. When this movie came out, not a lot of people saw it. It didn't bomb. It just didn't make its money back. But when it got nominated, and especially when the whole Best Picture fiasco with Moonlight happened, people started watching this, and a lot of people hate this movie, which I get. It's a musical, but not a lot of people like musicals, and it's not a very traditional musical. Because musicals are you talk and talk until you can't talk, and then you sing, and then until you sing and sing until you can't sing anymore because your emotions are so high, and then you start dancing, and it just repeats and repeats. But this movie, just it happens whenever, and It's my favorite movie of all time. Really not what to say. I have a lot of like personal stories that go along with this movie that I'm not going to share in the pod. It's just my feel-good movie. I can put it on any day, anytime. I'm probably going to watch it tonight. Let's be real. It's like 2 hours, over 2 hours long, but I'm going to watch it anyways. Worth it. Yeah. La La Land is my favorite movie of all time. I don't see it changing. I really don't, unless something like comes and blows me away. West Side Story was close. The new West Side Story that came out 2021. Shout out. Not honorable mention, but shout out. It's not old. I don't think it's old enough to like stand like to make my list. Although Licorice Pizza and Tick Tick Boom did make my list.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, those are more my movies than West Side Story. Although it's a musical, and I love musicals. One more thing I do want to say about La La Land is the cinematography is really good.
So good, right?
Yeah. Cinematography. It's maybe it's not even the cinematography. It's just the lighting, the set design, everything like around it that supports the characters. And I love how I love the use of color. I love how this movie is not a traditional ending. I know I said that before, but she ends up with someone else. He ends up, I guess, being alone for the meantime, and yeah, it's just really good. Yeah. If you're listening and you want to watch it with me, call me up. We'll watch it any day. If I'm free, we're gonna watch it. I have it somewhere in my dorm room somewhere. I have a Blu-ray somewhere in my dorm room. And I have like 3 copies of this movie.
Yo.
I don't know why. It just happened. Yeah, well, man, my favorite movie of all time. Ashton, I'm looking. So okay, for context, I'm looking at Ashton's phone right now, and he has his favorite movie of all time on his phone, and I totally forgot about this movie and how good this movie was.
So good.
And I was going to do an honorable mention, but I didn't want to spoil you.
That's fair.
Ashton, take it away.
So this movie I have up, and for reference, I have it up for the date because I forgot when it came out. 2002.
Really? That long ago?
That long ago. This was the start. Actually, I'm just going to say the movie, and then I'll get into the characters. It's actually kind of funny that none of our movies, like, we're the nerds in flannel, but none of our top movies are actually, like, sci-fi or super
Dude, they're
nerdy.
chick flicks, man.
They are chick flicks, and I love it. I am here for it.
I love chick flicks, man. What can I say?
I would say we're, like, hopeless romantics, but not dating. So I guess it's just me at that point.
Well, Hey, Chanel, how's it going?
Dang. Okay. I'm just going to hop right into this. My top movie, number 1 movie of all time is A Walk to Remember.
It's a sad movie.
It's a sad movie. And I actually kind of like this for similar reasons as to why La La Land was so good. But the thing about this movie is it's just hard. It's really hard to describe. There's just so many emotions associated with this movie. I would need to go to therapy to fully break down why I love it.
Oh, God. That's so bad. Dude, for context, Ash is cheering up right now.
Guys. Actually, good segue into what I was going to say here.
If you make me cry, I'm going to be so mad. There we go.
So I rarely cry at movies. I've gotten close a couple of times with some recent ones.
I cry a lot.
But this was the first movie that ever really made me cry. I watched this the first time when I was a kid. I didn't really want to watch this movie. My family was like, hey, again, my family influence. Shout out to my family. They're great. Sometimes they have good movie suggestions. Sometimes. Yeah. This movie, when I watched it for the first time, I was just a mess at the end. So, this movie, the plot of it, classic bad boy. He's kind of just going through life, doesn't care about much, and all of a sudden develops this crush for like this typical good girl. Her dad's like this like hardened pastor or whatever, and she's just sort of like the innocent church girl. So it's sort of him wanting to change to be better for her. But the climax of this movie is when this girl, they do end up falling in love a little bit, and the girl played by Mandy Moore. Let's see the character names. So she's Jamie Sullivan. the guy played by Shane West is Landon Carter. Jamie reveals that she has cancer, and I don't even know if it's quite cancer, but it's a term. She says it's a terminal illness in the movie. So at that moment, Shane has to decide if he's going to stay with her or if he's just going to leave her. And she was scared to tell him that she had cancer because she didn't want him to leave. It was at that moment that this movie became top tier for me. And the rest of the movie carries out where he tries to kind of make some of her dreams come true, some of her bucket list stuff. And it kind of closes with them getting married.
Oh, God. Oh, my gosh.
Which is just so sweet. Wow. I'm starting to feel it, bro. I'm starting to feel it.
We're men.
Is this toxic masculinity?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so it ends with them getting married, and then flash forward a couple years. Shane is visiting Jamie's dad as a what's the term for guys? I don't want to say widow, but as
it's a widower.
Widower.
Yes.
Yeah. So Jamie died somewhere there, and man, again, there's so many emotions that follow this. So I watched this the first couple times. Great movie to me. And then I'd kind of left it alone for a while. And I watched it at a time after where I had just learned that two people that I've really loved in my life actually ended up getting cancer. So that's why this movie really popped out to me then. And I knew at that point, like, it was my favorite movie. As much as it deals with some darker undertones, and as much as I think when you're in those dark places, you don't necessarily need to see an upside or a hope to everything. Just be in that space. It's great. But it kind of does give a little bit of hope, because at the end of the movie, Shane is changed into this awesome guy. And he does that because of Jamie. So I want to leave that as my number one. I don't think any movie's going to come close to taking this one off.
Now I gotta watch this movie again.
The music in this, Switchfoot did the soundtrack, and Mandy Moore actually requested that Switchfoot did this. This movie is also based on a Nicholas Sparks book. So if you don't know, he's infamous for The Notebook. It's The Notebook, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And there's a few other ones out there too.
And The Vow.
And there we go.
And I can't remember the other one. I can't remember the movie with Josh Duhamel. Okay, I can't remember. Go on.
Yeah. So, like, also, there's iconic songs that have come out from this one, like Dancing in the Moonlight. I think that one came out for this one, yeah. Dancing in the Moonlight.
By Top Loader.
Yes. And then the, I can't get through it.
Only Hope.
Only Hope, yeah.
By Mandy Moore.
Mandy Moore did write that one. So this was at the beginning of her career.
Yeah.
When she was really kind of figuring out if she wanted to keep doing music or become an actress, and she kind of went to be more of a musical actress.
Oh, once you know the context of Only Hope, it'll tear you up inside.
Yeah, Only Hope is a great song. It's constantly rotated on a ton of my playlists throughout the years.
Men. What do you mean? I should be on Mandy Moore on our playlists? Because we're men. Sensitive men.
Sensitive men. Dude, it's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I want to leave my number one. Just movies that you have an emotional connection to are the ones that you're always going to think of when you're thinking of your top movies. And I think I can say for these number 10 on our list, that's been the case mostly. We've had some form of emotional experience with them, which is why we've just really enjoyed them and mentioned them here.
Yeah. We you know what? I'm looking at the list right now. And we mentioned 20 movies.
20 movies.
We have 10 honorable mentioned and a 10 for the list. Yeah, we just love talking about movies, and we just want to do this list because why not? Now we have to do TV shows.
Yeah.
Which is gonna take probably longer than the movies are, because you have more to talk about with TV shows.
True.
That might have to be 3 parts.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. Ashton, is there anything else you want to say or do before we wrap it up? These are 20 movies here.
Should we quickly do one last recap?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. So my top 10 movies, starting from number 10, Deadpool as number 10. Aladdin is number 9. Get Smart is number 8. Logan is number 7. La La Land is number 6. Inception is number 5. The Empire Strikes Back is number 4. 1917 is number 3. The Princess Bride is number 2. And A Walk to Remember is number 1.
For me, Licorice Pizza is number 10. Ratatouille number 9. 8, Warrior. 7, Tick Tick Boom. 6, The Social Network. 5, Interstellar. 4, Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. 3, Top Gun. 2, Blade Runner 2049 and Blade Runner, the original. And number 1 is La La Land. Wow. That was quite an experience.
Why don't y'all let us know what your top 10 are?
Yes, send us your top 10 at nerdsandflannelpodcast@gmail.com or at Ashtonkins.
Hey. Personal information.
I'm kidding.
Also in the comments if you're watching on YouTube.
We'll have this uploaded. I usually upload the YouTube version of the pod the day after, just because easier that way.
Makes sense.
Comment down below, man, what your top 10 movies are. We want to have this discussion, and then we have more to talk about.
I think this is our longest episode.
This will be our longest episode.
Yeah.
This is gonna be about an hour and 20 minutes. Props to you if you're still listening, man.
Yeah, shout out.
Holy, thank you so much for listening. Also, if you're in India, please let us know, because we still want to know who's listening in India.
Are you real?
Are you actually listening in India, or is your VPN on and it just says you're in India? Actually, anything else?
I think I'm good.
All right, guys. You know what? Until next time, I'm Nat.
And I'm Ashton.
And we are the Nerds in Flannel.
Peace!